Does anyone else ever feel like you're doing everything right, but somehow you still feel stuck or unmotivated and low-key over it? Hot take, motivation isn't something that you find, it's something that you create. If you're in that weird heavy space right now where everything feels slow and nothing feels exciting, this video was made exactly for you. So let's really get into it. Let's talk about how to get out of that stuck feeling, how to build momentum, and how to stay motivated even when life feels meh. Here's what's really going on underneath that lack of motivation and what to do about it. Let's talk about understanding the stuck feeling. I want to just start this with saying you're probably not lazy. You're most likely stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed, or completely disconnected. Most people think just because they aren't feeling motivation that they're innately lazy, but lazy is a state of mind. It's just a term. It really isn't a physical condition. There's this myth about always being productive and having to constantly be on go, 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 be on hustle, ride out from sunrise to sunset, and you need to be working throughout the night. You need to wake up extra early. You need to do 20 things on a to-do list per day. But the reality of it is that rest is also productive. Your body needs time. Your body needs the ability to recover and to rest so that you can be productive. That's the whole thing about it. You can't just give productive energy. You need to create productive energy. You need to allow your body to recover from you being so productive so that you can be more productive. It's a constant cycle. What we need to do is we need to normalize slumps. Everyone has them. I am definitely not a 5 a.m. girl every single day for 365 days a year. We have slumps, and you have to identify your personal patterns. When you get into your slumps, is it emotional? Is it mental? Is it physical? Or is it hormonal? There are so many different reasons why you could fall into slumps, whether it be external or internal. We have so many things going on around us at all times. You need to normalize the slumps, but also identify why are you specifically having these slumps. Once you can identify your reasons and your personal patterns, it's far easier to create the motivation that you are looking for. At the end of the day, you cannot fix what you can't understand, so let's start there. Personally, when I have my slumps, I have it for usually two reasons. One, hormonal, and two, emotional. And most of the time, those go hand in hand. This could be a woman thing, this could just be a Brianna thing. I definitely follow my cycle, and the moods that go on throughout my cycle match every single month, and it's become a pattern that I've been able to identify, which also helps me understand when I'm feeling this way, it's probably because I'm in this phase of my cycle, or it's probably because I'm going through this hormonally. And emotional, usually going with hormonal, but I've made that also just a personal pattern that I've recognized within myself. Usually I am more hormonal when I'm in my luteal phase. During my menstrual ovulation or follicular phase, I'm usually peaches and cream. I'm pretty fine. My luteal phase is the biggest, darkest cloud over me, and when I see that switch in my energy, when I notice I'm really upset right now, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to get out of bed, usually I can then chalk it up and be like, oh, I'm in my luteal phase. My period's about to start, let me chill out. And then I've identified it so I can do something about it once I've identified it. Make sure you identify your personal patterns and normalize the slumps. So let's get into reigniting that motivation, because we want to be motivated. We want to feel motivated. This is a very natural feeling for humans to want to feel. We want to feel like there is hope. There is something that is driving us forward. Most of the time, it's hard to understand that it's you, yourself, and your brain, and it's a really hard pill to swallow when you realize that that responsibility is only your own. There is no motivation that you can just find at the end of a rainbow and take a big sip of it and now you're running the world. Motivation is something that you create. It is something that comes with a purpose, comes with a drive within you, and will continue to drive you as long as you follow the plan. I'm gonna give you 3 tips on reigniting your motivation motivation that will get you started. First, we want to start with clarity, not hustle. So we're going to reconnect with our why and with our current goals. If you followed my 2025 planning video, which I'll have linked up here, I went through 8 categories of planning out my 2025 goals. Things that I wanted to have in my health, in my financial situation, in my overall intelligence, and so forth. As the year has gone on, we are now almost 6 months into the year. As the year has gone on, my goals have not only shifted a little bit, but have also become a bit clearer to me as time goes on. So this is the perfect time when you can take a moment, do some brain dumps, get those journaling prompts going, where you are reconnecting with why you're doing what you're doing, why do you want the motivation to do what you want the motivation for, and what are your current goals right now? Are you still trying to chase after goals that you had from a year or two ago? Are they working? Are they not working? Let's try to clarify them and put them in a position where we can have that drive to keep going forward. Also, another tip that I really like to mention is shrink the task. A lot of us create these big overall achieving goals or tasks that we have to complete or that we want to reach, but in reality there's about 10 steps between where you are now to the end of your goal. So shrink it down, break it down into bite-sized manageable tasks or goals that will not only get you on the path to where you want to be, but along the way you are also getting that confidence, that clarity, and those skills that you need for when you reach your destination. Motivation builds as momentum builds. So if you're knocking off steps 1, steps 2, steps 3, at that point you're gonna want to get to step 10. But if you're just trying to start from ground zero and you're trying to make it to step 10, you're not going to have that motivation. There is no momentum of you getting there. Break it down so that there is momentum of you getting there. On the same path as that is doing the little 5-minute rule or setting a timer. If it's too big of a goal, then just sit down and do 5 minutes of it. Knock it down by 5 minutes. That could be going through your emails. That could be doing a 5-minute exercise. That could be taking a 5-minute shower. That could be making a 5-minute meal instead of this whole 5-course 1-hour preparation. The 5-minute rule is actually my favorite. I use it quite consistently because I tend to think overall as big picture. I tend to overwhelm myself with that. So sometimes I'm like, girl, set 5 minutes and just see where you get. And usually at the end of the 5 minutes, I want to keep going because I've already built the momentum, which is the motivation to keep going. And third, change your environment. Sometimes all you need is that fresh, new environment to shift that energy within you that has been down. This could be cleaning your space, moving your body, getting outside, going to a new cafe, going to a new library, going to new locations, switching up your routine, whatever that may look like for you. Change your environment and notice how much your energy shifts instantly. While we speak about motivation and momentum, I also want to shift the conversation on lifestyle changes that will help support your motivation. A lot of people try to keep everything the same that they're doing, whether it's nutrition, schedules, routines, whatever it may be, but a lot of your current habits aren't supporting the motivation. There's a few lifestyle habits that will not only change your life, but also support the motivation that you are seeking. Please prioritize your sleep, your hydration, and nourishing foods. This is something, I don't know if you guys can tell it in my face, but I feel like ever since I have taken these 3 things seriously, everything in my life has changed. Not only am I actually getting the sleep that my body needs to recover muscles that I'm breaking, basically in the gym, all of these new things that I'm constantly learning because I'm a natural learner. I love to learn things. I love to watch documentaries. I wasn't getting enough rest for my body to even recover and to digest some of the things I was doing from the day prior. Not only do I also have more energy, but I'm also feeling so much better when I wake up. I don't wake up feeling groggy. I don't wake up feeling pissed off at the world. Now I wake up and I'm literally smiling, looking at the sun coming through this window, and I'm like, wow, it's another day. I get to go to the gym. Let's get up, let's get ready. Because I prioritize sleep. The other two things I prioritize are hydration and nourishing foods. I have completely changed my diet. I used to eat DiGiorno pizzas, Cheetos, Doritos, Nutella toast, Nutella bagels, croissants, cinnamon rolls, cookies. Oh my gosh, what else? Any type of crackers I can get. I loved carbs, pasta, chicken nuggets, french fries, tacos, all these foods that did not serve me and my goals. And now I'm eating yogurt bowls, eggs, real meat, healthy fats, fruits, and vegetables. Now I'm eating colorful plates. I've never felt better in my body. And with hydration, I'm now adding in electrolytes. I'm making sure that my body is completely hydrated at all times. I make sure to drink before I eat. I drink water before I eat because half the time, that's what I needed. I needed water. My body doesn't even crave the food. My body's craving the water. Making sure that you're staying hydrated, eating nourishing foods, and prioritize that sleep. Go to bed. Another thing that I think is really important is movement in general. It doesn't have to be a grand workout. I definitely don't recommend 75 hard for everybody. It has put a lot of stress and strain on my body. But one thing I will say about 75 hard has been that adding movement into my daily routine and also having to do 2 forms of movement daily has boosted my mood in so many great ways. I was down bad for a long time, guys. I was so depressed. I was so sad. I was literally bed rotting, couch rotting, eating all these unhealthy snacks that I'm telling you about, or unhealthy meals. I felt so terrible about myself and I couldn't even shake the feeling, and I felt like I couldn't do anything about it. But once I started, again, the 5-minute rule, implementing a 5-minute walk. Usually I want to keep walking after 5 minutes. Usually 5 minutes is way too short. Movement, whatever form it looks like, stretching, a short walk, Pilates, lifting, doing a couple squats, doing a couple jumping jacks, doing a couple of hammer curls, whatever it may be. It is such an energy boost, but will also keep your body feeling and looking healthy. Last lifestyle habit that I want you guys to get are dopamine supporting routines. Now, I recently just dropped a video all about building a realistic daily routine that works for you and your goals. I will have it linked right up here, so make sure you guys watch it. That will help you so much when it comes to setting up your routines, but also make sure that you have things that are dopamine supporting. This could be so many things: stretching, journaling, self-care, progress tracking, whatever it may be. But just make sure that your routine is not only realistic and works for you, but is also dopamine supporting to support that motivation. Lastly, I just want to leave you guys with a couple of mental reframes or mindset shifts that you should definitely make. First, I want to remind you guys that it's always going to be discipline over motivation. Motivation, again, is not something that you will always have, but it's something that you create. It's a drive that you build within yourself. So you need to have the discipline to stick with your goals even when the motivation isn't quite there. Such as, for instance, in my situation with the 75 hard, having to do the 2 workouts a day, I am definitely not motivated for that, and especially not every single freaking day for 75 days. But I've had to stay disciplined. These are the rules. Those are the goals. These workouts are going to help me reach the goals that I have for the end of the 75 days. So whether or not the motivation is there, I have built that discipline that will make sure that I keep going. Another one is even 1% still counts. This is also something that I said in my realistic routines video. Sometimes you just need that 1% to move you forward. Maybe you need to clean your house and you want to do a whole Sunday reset. You don't have to do it on Sunday, but just because that's what we all usually call it. Let's say you want to do a Sunday reset, but you don't really have the motivation to clean your entire house. Pick that one area that is super cluttered and declutter that area. It doesn't have to be your whole house. Start with one section and build up. That momentum builds motivation. Thirdly, this is one that I'm personally working with, your worth is not based on your productivity. It is not tied to your productivity. Just because you are super productive doesn't mean that you're super worthy. Just because you're not super productive doesn't mean that you are worth nothing. They have nothing to do with each other. How productive you are being has nothing to do with how amazing, valuable, worthy, and amazing you are in this life. Fourth, this is a mental shift that I'm personally going through right now, so I really want to share it with you guys. You are allowed to pivot or rest without quitting. And let that sink in for a second. You are allowed to pivot or rest without quitting. I come from a background that if you are not hustling, if you are not constantly pushing forward, if you're not constantly studying, if you're not constantly practicing or training for these goals or sports or whatever it may be, you are quitting. And it took a long time for me to realize that I'm allowed to pivot. I'm allowed to rest. I'm allowed to do things differently than the norm. I'm allowed to break routines once in a while if that's what works for me. It doesn't mean that I've quit. It doesn't mean that you've given up on your goal. It doesn't mean that you've thrown everything out the window. It just means that you decided to pivot, you decided to rest. So be it. It's not that big of a deal. I just, at the end of this all, it is not that big of a deal. I just feel like that needs to be said. I just want to say feeling stuck is a temporary feeling, and the version of you that's on the other side of this moment, they are very much within reach. I hope this video helped you guys in some way, whether it's just being able to identify your slumps and identifying your personal patterns and why maybe you don't feel motivated, or if I've given you help on igniting that motivation and keeping it, and those mindset shifts that have really changed my life for the better. If you guys like this video or found it helpful, please give it a big like, comment down below something that is helping you feel motivated, or just drop a little fire emoji if you're ready to get moving and building that momentum. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell notification to be notified with every future upload. I hope this video gave you guys the little spark that you needed. I feel like I got a little spark from just speaking about this, and I feel more motivated now to keep going as well. So I hope that you feel that through this video. As I always say, stay glowing, stay growing, and stay you. Bye.